And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to remind everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. There's a PayPal link down there for anybody that wants to share some love. All is appreciated. And the StreamYard link is down there for anybody who wants to join the panel. And today we're going to be talking about the Child Protective Services and that due process thing that I've been talking about when it relates to dealing with our public servants and that First Amendment, their duty to listen, the petition to redress the government and all that, which I urge everybody, if you haven't seen it already, go back and watch my video I did just a little bit ago about the First Amendment and that petition to redress the government. Sorry about that, folks. So, okay, let's try this again. My sincere apologies, folks. So, I've got this Child Protective Services video of Kelly Hendrick returns to take our girls. No due process, emergency, or crime, just armed abduction. And that's exactly what we're talking about, folks. Deuteronomy 24:7 of the King James Version of the Bible, and it clearly outlines that he who be caught stealing the children of the brethren of Israel and making merchandise out of them shall be put to death. And these people using their jobs to make a paycheck and go home and support their families as an excuse, I'm just doing my job, like I said, continuously just reminds me that they're Hitler's willing executioners. And so we're going to take a look at this. And let's see here. And this is from, let me see here, this is from Farzan Yazdani. Farzan Yazdani. And evidently this is directly from his, says Loudoun County, this is how the government kidnaps children in America. Thursday, March 27th, 2025. Just under a month ago, less than 24 hours after the ambush at my home, Loudoun County CPS agent Kelly Hendricks returned, this time not with a wellness check, but with emergency removal orders to take both of my daughters. She didn't knock to talk. She didn't schedule a hearing. Instead, she sent the orders to my work email, an address she obtained under false pretenses by claiming the school had provided it. That was a lie, and she sent the orders just 3 minutes before arriving at my door, ensuring I had no time to read them, contact my attorney, or respond in any meaningful way. This is what I was talking about earlier in relations to the First Amendment and the government's substantive obligation in that petition to redress the government for redress of grievances. That substantive obligation is through good faith and fair dealings in everything. And when they act like this and don't follow a process that is required by law, but rather underhanded means and false documentation and false accusations, one of the greatest sins is the bearing of false witness. As I've mentioned, I am so tired of people falling to the little lies and willing to commit those little lies themselves, thinking it's okay, when in the grand scale of things, it is the greatest sin. You're lying to yourself, you're lying to others, and most importantly, you're lying to children. You're allowing them to be educated in this public education indoctrination system to accept, believe, and tell the same lies. So when it comes to the Child Protective Services, are they really protecting? And my question here is, are the parents really protecting? How are you going to protect your children if you don't know?
We can't answer the door right now.
Good afternoon, Kelly, or good evening, Kelly Hendricks.
I'm Miss Mancini. I'm here. I have 2 court orders for removal for Melanie and Roxana. If you would please come to the door so I can give.
So what we've got here is two court orders supposedly that can't possibly be court orders because it's void on its face. There is no first-hand witness that will get into court and testify. These are all just professional opinions coming forth, claiming that the children are being harmed some way, but can't tell you how.
Give you your orders.
There's a removal order?
Yes, I have 2 signed removal orders, which I will speak to when you come to the front door, stating that.
No way! You have an order?
And understand, if it's an actual order to apprehend or take into custody anybody, it's not some CPS worker. It's the police. Even in situations where they call for medical help and the police arrive there first, the police are the ones taking everybody into custody. So what they're doing here is using the police as an enforcement under false pretenses that they can take these children into custody. And again, it's all because all these people, look at them all. They're all making a paycheck and they're supporting each other's paycheck. Nothing more, nothing less. And they certainly don't know the law. None of them.
To remove my children from my home?
Yes, I do.
Can I have my lawyer speak with you, please?
Correct. Tribe says order not signed by an Article 3 judge, and it involves constitutional cause. And that constitutional cause is this is a violation of the nature and biology of the people, because in their own codes they speak about they don't have authority over biological moms and dads. See, all of this stuff with the Child Protective Services and everything, all this is supposed to do with adoption and foster care only, no one else. If these children are in the care of the biological moms and dads, they have no authority, zero. It must be an Article 3 violation of a criminal act, not some statutory violation under a penal code.
No, I'm not able to speak with the lawyer right
No,
now. Mr. Anthony, I cannot speak with your lawyer.
And she's telling you right there she can't speak with his lawyer. Well, then we don't have the proper lines of communication. Something is broken, and it ain't me. See, I wouldn't involve an attorney. See, they're busy on that phone texting back and forth to each other. But they ain't going to speak to his attorney. Well, I can't speak to him. See, that's the deceit. Non-transparent. Not only that, they're, like I said in the First Amendment, petition to redress the grievances, or petition to the government for redress of grievances. These people are hiding and ducking and dodging and show a blatant disregard for the substantive obligation of listening. They refuse to listen because they think their education and them they're doing their job, that they know what's going on, and that automatically means they're right in everything. No. Just because your boss is sitting there patting you on the back saying you're doing a good job, I don't think so. I think every last one of you's got a shitty job. I pray for you. I can't imagine having a job where I think it's okay to take another man's children.
$2.
And you know, in their notes, they're gonna have a note in there about the dog being aggressive, or dogs. There's two of them.
By a magistrate.
You could come to the door so I can speak with you. I've emailed you the 2 removals.
No, I've texted you and I've called you, and you said you were going to come last night and you didn't. You haven't responded back to me. As a matter of fact, you're misrepresenting it. And I have civil rights attorneys right now that are going to contact you.
Mr. Anthony, you've been sent a copy of the 2 removals. They're in your email.
My lawyer is calling me right now. Hold on a second.
See, and that's part of the problem with her saying that she can't talk to his attorney. No, when it comes to a certain point in time, you must talk to his attorney or invoke your Fifth Amendment, which automatically would just justify the charges against you at that point. Particularly with this damning evidence. Again, and these people have zero authority, folks. Title 11 of the Social Security Act clearly states about how any officer or agent that takes charge over the child against the objection of the parents. They're not supposed to be doing that. That's Title 11 of the Social Security Act. And yet they do it. Plain writing. And look at the officer putting the gloves on. See, he's already got his mindset that he's going to break in and take those children one way or another. He's going to gain access to those children one way or another and take those children. what's the point in knocking? You just heard him say
Hello,
his
my
lawyer
lawyer
was.
I call you right now. Can you please answer his call? My lawyer has been trying to call you right now, and do you have a lawful order from a magistrate?
Can you please open the
Listen,
door?
you're very
See, just like any other time, you have the right to be represented by a counsel, right? So when they insist that they can't talk to your counsel, that right there is a violation of the Sixth Amendment. Okay? And now the counsel, he's evidently trying to call her. She texted him earlier, so he's got her number. So he gave her number to his attorney, and the attorney's trying to call her. She's not answering. She was just on her phone, so you know she's got it. She just refuses to answer. See, that's denial of the legal process. You're trying to deny this man his legal counsel. See how idiotic these people think they are? Or idiotic these people look when they think they're so damn smart? This is simple logic, folks.
shady person, and I'm going to have you in prison for violating my rights if that's what you're doing here. Do you have a lawful order from a magistrate? Because if you did, you could have busted down my door already, and I'm not inclined to open the door to you. I will sue you to the fullest extent of the law. I want you to know that.
And that might be part of this guy's indoctrination too, Tribe, because Tribe says the magistrate is not judicial, and that's absolutely correct. They are administrative. And so under the administrative rule of law, they would still need to have that administrative order, and it had to have been signed, and that's what she's not wanting to show him. She says she has it, but everything's been done electronically so far. She emailed him 3 minutes before she got there. You know, this is all done expediently, ex parte, and they're doing private communications. There is no lawful order by a magistrate or a judicial officer, neither one. But that's what he believes. He doesn't understand it's supposed to be from a judicial officer of the Article 3 courts under a grand jury indictment. Nothing less.
Hi, Mr. Yassini, can you open the door?
No, I can't. Can you show me the order?
Yes. If you would check your email, those orders have been sent to you.
Which email? Which email?
The one that is with the school.
Which email?
Farzan Yassini at S.W.A.P..
And see, this is nothing. This is actually, like I said earlier, in regards to Deuteronomy 24/7. It's actually kidnapping, but it's also a waste of the state's money, as I said, as it relates to adoption and foster care. Because once people wake up to that aspect, these people are lost. They've so empowered this government through these types of agencies and people that when the mass population of people realizes these entities only extend to adoption and foster care services, in other words, it doesn't extend to biological parents, then how many of them do you think will have a job? There aren't as many adoption and foster care children as you might think, though there are quite a few, and I think it's still atrocious. And the fact that they go missing in these protective services care systems is pathetic. 18,000. It's amazing. But once people wake up to it, these people won't have a job anymore. I hope that's what happens. I'm urging people to wake up and understand you need to take back the responsibility for your children yourself. That's where the main fault lies at. And you have to do that through knowledge. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You cannot teach your children how to look out and be aware of what these people are capable of if you don't teach them. I had to learn the hard way. I went through the foster care and adoption system, and it ain't pretty. It probably takes 3 or 4 people working in the real world to support one worthless leech in a government office. I might tend to agree with that one, Tribe. And yes, taking children out of the home, I guarantee you it's going to cause, it is potential infliction of emotional distress. You cannot imagine how hard people will strive to try to find their family and put their family back together in situations like this, to the extent that they can't even build their own family. That's the foundation of this system. The foundling. That's what you're considered in those hospitals when you're born under that spell of illness. And it's merely a presumption. And
hello, you sent the removal orders 3 minutes ago. I just forwarded them to my lawyer. There hasn't been a hearing, so you can't take my children right now. I will not open the door to you. We're going to follow this up with suit against you and family service.
See that? Like I said, there's been no hearing. This is all electronic communication as they blip and bleep on their text messaging back and forth through these nice new electronic devices in ex parte, private communications without anybody knowing, trying to coerce and threaten people into giving up their children. That's heinous. And this is a woman with breasts and a vagina. Her sole purpose in this life is to bring forth children. And she has the audacity to stand there with their bullshit, not knowing the law, but merely using officers of the law that neither know the law themselves as enforcement. And like I spoke of in my earlier video in regards to the First Amendment, it's when these people stop listening and refuse to listen and let these atrocities continue that the people will revolt. It's just a matter of nature then. That you can't stop. That isn't stopped by some words written on a piece of paper. Because see, that's part of the problem. When you try to think that you can portray the words written on paper as if though it's grand authority for you to do whatever you want without even knowing the words on the paper, then you forget the power of the people and their word. You are confused.
Services. This is an illegal tactic and a deep violation of my civil rights. I already have the video evidence that I needed, and I was already seeking civil rights litigation.
And we're going to go check that out if he's got it. Greetings, Russ. How you doing tonight?
Greetings. Doing well. Doing well.
Good.
These people
good.
think they're God, don't they?
Oh, man. It's... I don't know that they think they're God, but I do know that they think they've got a military force behind them that will allow them to just do any fucking thing they want.
Right.
That's why I'm rude with these people. Like I said, I've been through the foster care and adoption system. I see how these people work, and I don't deal with it like they want me to. That's too bad. I don't care about your fucking feelers.
I reached out to STAR today, Sons of the American Revolution, right here in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you're listening, still stands. But these guys, these people are insane. They continue on with this old lie because it benefits them. Well,
yep.
When it comes time to balance those books of those actions, I think they're going to be singing a different tune.
Oh, yeah. I hope so anyway. I hope so.
This is just going to be another one on top of it. There has not been a hearing. There is no removal order. This is something that you have submitted to the court, and you just sent it to me 3 minutes ago. I have the timestamp on when you sent it to me, and you sent it to my work email, not the email I have on file with the school, which is my Gmail. You're a liar. It's obvious from your demeanor. It's obvious from your demeanor that you are ill-intended. Also, you're shifty, you're shady, you're self-soothing with your hand, and I don't trust you. I will not open the door. You're free to break down the door and break and enter my property. And what happens after that will just be what happens after that. Feel free to do so. You're not answering my lawyer. You said you were going to stop by yesterday. You're a liar. You said that you would submit a Freedom of Information Act request telling me what's going on right now. Instead, you show up with these false orders. And there's going to be a deeper investigation going on. Believe me, your problem is that I have the money to fight this. Your problem is that I have the
Ooh, we got a guy that evidently has some money.
civil rights
Nice.
attorneys
Nice.
to fight this. Your problem is that I have the civil rights attorneys to bring you to justice. You're corrupt as fuck. As fuck.
All of them are corrupt as fuck. Like I said,
Damn straight.
any living man or woman that professes I'm just doing my job while taking the children from other men and women are in fact kidnapping them for their fucking paycheck. Makes me sick.
Fuck. Get off my property. You're trespassing on my property. Get off my property right now. Get off my property right now. You evil human being. You violent, evil human being. I'm going to sue all of you and Loudoun
Look at
County.
them all.
You will see it.
Look at them all.
I will sue all of you
love it.
officers, every single one of you.
Love it.
7 deep. See, I had him come at me 8 deep in the middle of the street one time on my bike, pulled me over, said, hey, you were driving down the middle of the street. No, I wasn't driving. I wasn't on a motorized vehicle of any sort. Oh, well, can we see your ID? I don't have an ID. What I do have is this. And he looked at it, and that was my bicycle driver's license. Since he said I was driving, right? Coincidentally, he started laughing and chuckling. I said, well, what's your name? I won't go into the details again because I've told it so many times, but it's pathetic. Don't let them
I
scare
had
you.
8
No,
of them on me in the parking lot up there at New Britain Police Department for trying to do a FOIA request. And
Yeah.
the chief tells me I had to get with a county solicitor. And I said, well, have the county solicitor call me. And I looked at his door and it said, no soliciting. And I said, what does that say there? The good old days.
Well, I guess that's
You know,
all.
the beautiful thing about this gentleman right here, they probably left him alone from there just because it seemed, this is just my intake now, because the foundation of his faith, they're done with him. They're done with him.
Yep.
That's the thing that will put him in a jail cell.
Oops, where am I going here? Let me get this. Okay. And here's a link to his channel. Everybody go over and check him out. Subscribe to him. Show him some support. Definitely one of the people, just from this one video that I see, you know, I want to support this guy because of this plight. Being the very plight that I always speak about. I see all these people talking about themselves and how it's about them and this and that and the racism or this and that, but nobody ever seems to really talk about the children, because that's the main intent and purpose in everyone's fucking life to begin with, and yet that seems to be the last topic.
I just went over and subbed him up.
Yeah, see, it seems like it's the mom that's weaponizing the government. And I guess this is take a look at this one.
You got it on video?
Yeah. I am.
Look, she's holding my beard.
Yeah. Hopefully
What is
she'll
she
hold
gonna
it
do?
again.
What is she gonna wear, Mama?
I've got a diaper bag. Melly, can you get the diaper bag in your bag out the car? She's all clean.
You have clothes for kids?
Yep. Oh, he's spitting up.
And this is why it's so important to set your house in order, guys. Ladies, know who you're dealing with before you get involved and start making little children.
I'll let you walk to him instead of him walking to you. Here's my card. Call me, set up visitations.
Visitations is just for the weekend.
Just give me a call, please.
Okay.
Can I get your daughter, please?
I mean, my God, look at this guy. Why would you hand your daughter over to a guy in
Just give me a call.
a t-shirt?
No way.
Why are you doing this? Why are you taking
Just give me a call. We can talk about all of this tomorrow. I'll let you know that she's safe.
He's so racist. Baby, 1 month old breastfeeding, baby.
I understand.
She's breastfeeding. She eats from mama's breast.
Yeah, you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Breastfeeding, and going to take this child away from the mom that she's breastfeeding from, which is providing her with the nutrients and natural immunities from her mother.
The only thing I knew to do, Lord, was the throat punching.
The things that even her mother has been through, this child will be immune.
It's crazy. Look at the psychological traumas that children have grown up with, and they're suffering those traumas in adulthood. It's sad, but it is true. I mean, I believe that is the mind control that has happened, and they have enticed us with entertainment based on those triggers of those traumas and those feelings and emotions from a child.
Entertainment.
It's how they've controlled the program.
Yeah, entertainment and free education. We'll educate you for free. It won't cost you a dime.
I ended up, Jack ended up kicking me off over there. Because of Tarek.
Yeah, I don't even want to deal with Tarek anymore. He's a blatant idiot. White knight, slap a hoe, kick a wannabe tribe. You know, he's a perfect one to come up and try to white knight for people. Yet, it seems he wants to white knight for certain people and then wants to go out and attack the ladies.
Well, not only that, the biggest thing with me is he doesn't practice what he preaches.
Well, exactly.
Period.
That's what I mean. He's a babbling idiot.
Oh.
He doesn't stick to what the reality of the words are. He doesn't listen to people. He takes things out of context. Here it is. I don't know how long it's been. I've told him I'm not a fucking Christian. He's still calling me a Christian. Well, because you believe in the Bible, and no, I never said I believe in the Bible. I use the Bible as a guide to show me what the good morals and ethics I'm supposed to be using in order to deal with my fellow man, despite how crazy and insane they are.
Mm-hmm. See,
and that's what I'm talking about here. You know, we've got to learn how to deal with these insane motherfuckers that are posing that they have any authority to do the things that they do. It's merely an apparent authority that you have to find the source of in order to have that support and enforcement.
Right. But you know, there's one thing that, you know, when he kicked me off over there, And he said after he kicked me off, he says, I never was a fan of yours anyway. Well, that changed something in me. I've always been respectful to that guy. I've never, talked down on his name, tried to, demoralize his character or anything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that says something about a man's character.
Well, yeah, you got to understand it's coming from Jack too. Do you know Jack?
Yeah, it's psychological. I know psychology too.
Anyway,
So, but it's a program. Some deprogram themselves, and some repeat the program.
well, yeah, and that's I mentioned that on one of my streams not too long ago too briefly. Is that not all hurt people hurt people. I
Correct.
grew up in this system with all this abuse and these atrocities happening, and I couldn't bear seeing other people do that to children, let alone myself or even other adults. Granted,
Yeah,
I've
I
stabbed people and I've hit people upside the head with a shovel, but those are extreme circumstances where my life was at my point in my perspective was at risk.
mhm.
So it comes down to that finite thing again of realizing who you are, and you're truly the only one that's going to be able to protect yourself. As long as mankind keeps believing that they can send that responsibility off to some fictional government, that some sky daddy is going to keep an eye on them, Big Brother, same thing.
Mhm.
It's the same fucking concept. And until people wake up and realize that you have to do the shit yourself, and that's what the true test of life is, and that if you don't stand up
See,
for that,
I think when we find our purpose in life, we already know what we're supposed to do with it. But these people aren't coming from foundations, and I think that those hurt people that hurt people. Well, there's other hurt people that obviously they would be hurt people that don't hurt people.
right? Well, and there's
Those ones that don't hurt people, I believe those people are probably the ones that are the true alchemists in this world, being of service to the Most High. Now, who's running those finances?
well, see, and that's the problem. That's part of
Hmm.
the public education indoctrination where people don't get to develop their spiritual talents and come to a comprehension of how powerful that talent is or those talents are, and become indoctrinated through that system, that public education indoctrination, to be part of a popularity contest of a society as a whole rather than developing individuality. Their individuality under that indoctrination is to fit a certain role that other people want them to fill. And when you give up your own talents or have your own talents subverted, as I see it, 5 years old, they're throwing them in kindergarten and teach them how to write the legal name and the legal address. And no one's ever taught why or what it is. That's the true indoctrination and getting them involved in that popularity contest that I've talked about. That's why they have the population statistics, and that's where it all starts. It's just a statistical number.
Well, when we look back at that psychology, if a man or a woman isn't able to control that blood pressure, should they even be anywhere near leadership or finances?
Well, it's the ones that can use the reason and logic through that moral and ethical standards to make sure that good faith and fair dealing is being had. And there's very few people that can do that because that also takes in that delegation of certain powers to other people that they too maintain those same things. And that doesn't happen. Things get watered down. So at your local level, where it's watered down the most, everybody seems to be living fluidly, but in fact, we're the ones creating all the current and all the discord
Mm-hmm.
And we were just getting ready to close down, but Rebel is backstage. Let's bring him up, see if his mic is good. Greetings, brother.
Hello.
How you doing today, brother?
Good. Can you hear me?
We got you good tonight.
Sounds good.
Good. Oh, cool. Because I'm using Facebook instead of YouTube. So
There you go.
that one video you showed of the CPS worker at that dude's house. Well, they came right back and said that they would use SWAT to break into his house and take those kids. And so he ended up handing his kids over. Or no, the woman claimed assault when she went to try to go in the door to get to the kids, and then they all went in, and then they got him to give up the kids. He brought them outside, and he was crying and everything, and yeah, they didn't give a damn about him at all.
Yep.
Only thing I can say, if any of that is real, Lord have mercy on their souls.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. They have this apparent authority to go ahead and do what they think is necessary, taking people's children, and then blaming the people that are trying to protect their children for assaulting them. I'm telling you, when people understand and comprehend exactly what's going on en masse, they will revolt. This will stop. It will bottleneck the population. And there will be many people that will end up not just without jobs, but without lives. It's time to stop taking people's children. One of the most heinous crimes there is. And they do it so blatantly, willingly, and without any fucking penalties. With no remorse. If they had remorse, they'd quit their jobs, knowing that they'd have to go back day in and day out and do the same thing over and over again. That can't be remorse. That's the blatant opaqueness of their soul. There's zero there. There's zero there. They have no feelings. They're Hitler's willing executioners just doing their jobs. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, he shouldn't have answered them. He should have just stayed quiet, because they had no ability to even break into his house anyways if they thought he was there to take the kid.
I'd have left the state, stayed quiet for 6 months, established residency, and then filed the proper claim for that attempt to kidnap. I fled my nation state to come here for equal protection of the laws because I am the one being aggrieved. She's using false pretenses to use, and like I said, that foster care and adoption system is what that stuff's for. It's not for biological moms and dads. They're not supposed to help a biological mom take charge over the children against the biological parents, biological dad's objections, simply because they're an administrative branch. They have no power. They're using.
It all seems to be a special education.
Yeah, they're
run by the.
They're using powers that are not they're using powers that are not delegated to them. And like I said in my previous video, they're using it as a matter of manipulation, threats, duress, and coercion as a matter of control. So as long as they can continue to get more families broken up in this manner and help provide that welfare for the mom and take over those children, the more men and women will believe that they have the power to do so. And it's not until we educate them that they don't, in fact, have that power. And the only way you can do that is by doing your research. Don't believe me. Don't believe the neighbor. Don't believe the government. For crying out loud, don't believe your mother. Do your research so you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, the judicial branch just had a meeting. I saw the video. I would have to search it. But yeah, they brought up how the Article 1 administrative courts are mixing the Article 3 in their and then using that to get justification to criminalize people.
Well, yeah, I just did a video on that the other day. The House Judiciary
Okay.
Committee, House Senate Judiciary Committee had a meeting last year on reining in the administrative state, and in that they went down and broke it down very well. And so I did a quick short review of the first part of it. I urge everybody to go back and check that out, because that's what we're talking about. These people have no power, even with that. Like Tribe said earlier, with that magistrate order, that's not a proper order to take somebody's child. It's supposed to be from an Article 3 judicial determination as to whether the association of that party is proper in the courts. That's supposed to be under common law. It's supposed to be a criminal act before you can take a man's child. He has to have abused them in some way or manner, and it must be under a grand jury indictment.
Yeah, we're supposed to demand to be placed into an Article 3 court whenever you go in. But it's also best when they say, what do you plead? You plead on assumption. You're denying everything, and you're not agreeing to participate or be contracted with them.
Well, it's innocent. I'm innocent. You can't convict a man that the law doesn't apply to. And in your situation, like, or in this man's situation, like I said, the adoption and foster care services do not regulate those of biological parents. They're not in the foster care and adoption system. They have no authority intervening in private people's lives. The only people they have a right to do so are those under Title 4D contracts as foster care parents wishing to either funnel kids through their home to try to help bring them up in a better way as a way to lighten the weight on society, or as an intent to adopt. I went through 15, 17, 19 foster homes before I was adopted. And I'm telling you again, it's not pretty. And with that, we're at the end of the stream. What do you guys got on the way out?
Well, I'll just remind everybody, as I always do, be the change you wish to see. And remember, without faith, there can be no, or I'm sorry, where there's doubt, there can be no faith. There's a fine line between right and wrong. Much love.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. Be blessed.
Yeah, we're all domiciles, dwellers of the land. We're not residents or U.S. citizens. We got to get ourselves back to claiming ourselves as being a man.
We're the living souls that direct our persons, and nobody else has authority over that. We're the ones that are able to give that name to any document, and we have to have credence for that. In order to do that properly, we need to know what's on that document first and foremost. If we don't know what's on that document, we shouldn't be signing it. Pure and simple. And that's a matter, again, that First Amendment, the ability to express yourself, the right to know, and then, of course, their obligation to listen. I don't know your legalese. You can't bring me into your courts as if though I practice that law. I don't. I practice the law of the Word of God. That's what your Christian society wants me to do, and I find it comparable. So I will abide by those laws because they bring me good morals and ethics that guide me in life to do good faith and fair dealings, just like your laws say I'm supposed to. That's it.
Yeah, we don't have a license to be able to speak to them like a lawyer does. So you take care, man.
You bet. You too, brother. Thanks for showing up. And you guys know me. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. That's to say, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. That's on you. So may God bless you and have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye now.